two of the most memorable plays during East Duplin's run to its first ever state championship game. Let's take you back to the third round against Clinton. End of the game, number 15, Johnny on the spot as he tipped away the potential game-winning two-point conversion, and that preserved the one-point win over their nemesis, the Dark Horses.
I just backed up and threw a hand up, and I was just glad I got a hand on it and tipped it. I'm glad that Jackson Goss caught that ball, not a Clinton player. It's another thing that scared me when I did it.
And then in the state championship game, a blocked field goal attempt ended up in the Reidsville holders' hands, and it was Elam Moore who did not hesitate. He took the ball away and ran it all the way back for a touchdown.
I had a gut feeling we were about to block it because, we had come close so many times, and Rodrigo Sanchez got a hand on it, and the boys just stood there with it, and I said, it's a live football in my head, and I grabbed it, and I looked at the sideline. I'd seen Coach Shanlon and Coach Holly pointing and running up the sideline just as hard, and I just took off with it.
I said, I know your mom is telling you to take that ball and run, boy.
It was a run of redemption for his mom because it came less than a year after the worst day of his life. His mom, Greer, died from complications from COVID.
It was right there before we played Southwest Onslow. She noticed she was getting a little sick and like she was struggling a little bit, and they took her to Kenansville. It just seemed she needed more help, so they airlifted her to Chapel Hill.
December 14th, 2021. She died at the hospital right next to Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill. Greer Moore was 49 years old. She had 2 daughters and 2 sons, all trying to cope with the loss of their rock.
I was very close with my mom. She always picked me up after practices and stuff, and we always had a close bond together, and she was always a fun person to be around.
Elam and his younger brother had their East Duplin family to help them get through it, sports providing the desperately needed distraction.
He played basketball, and then he went into baseball, and they had a good year, and boy, he sure is tough.
The first couple games, you're just seeing her and Dad up there together and my little brother, and it was new. It was something different. Didn't bother me, but I knew she was there watching. She just wasn't physically there in the stands, but she was there.
He's one of those old school football players. If you see him walking down the hallway or walking down the street, you wouldn't know how tough he was, and his knack to be around the football and be in the right place. He's always, last year and this year's, been a spark for our defense.
Elam's knack for the big play.
He had a big pick against Whiteville.
Helped get East Duplin to their second ever state championship game. That's when he found out he was returning to Chapel Hill.
They told us we were playing in Chapel Hill, and we got there into Chapel Hill. It just felt different. I always get that feeling before a football game, but I had that, but there was something extra about it.
And then he made the play.
Something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, tell my kids one day.
Elam used his experience to help his teammate Jesse Parker deal with the death of his dad during this season. He's hoping everything he does makes his mom proud.
I'm trying to do everything right and got my room the way she wanted it, because our house got flooded 3 or 4 years ago, and we lived in a camper for 3 years ago, and she did everything the way she could, the way she wanted it, the kitchen and our living room, and she wanted me and my brother to have a good room and matching stuff, and let her know that we finally did that, and we got everything right, and just tell her that I love her.
In Beulahville, I'm Brian North for News Channel 12.